Captain Lee Hyun stood at the front window of his ship, looking at the huge gate floating in space before him. The gate was bigger than any building he had ever seen, made of strange metal that seemed to glow with its own light. Blue and purple energy danced around its edges like lightning in a storm. His hands were shaking, but not from fear. He was angry and desperate and ready to break every law in the galaxy to save his sister. The UES Defiance was not supposed to be here. No human ship was allowed near these ancient gates. The Galactic Council had banned all humans from using them 50 years ago, after what they called the Terran Incident. Hyun did not care about their rules. His sister Kim Nari was trapped on the other side of this gate, held prisoner by aliens who hated humans. She had done nothing wrong except discover something the aliens wanted to keep secret. Behind him, his small crew worked at their stations. They were only 12 people, but each one had volunteered to risk their lives for this mission. Park Taemin was in the engine room pushing their old cargo ship to its limits. The engines were not built for this kind of speed or power, but Taemin was the best engineer Hyun had ever known. He could make broken machines work like magic. Navigator Choi Minji sat at her control panel, calculating the exact moment they would need to punch through the gate. Her fingers moved quickly over the buttons and screens. She had studied these gates for years, even though it was illegal to do so. She knew more about them than most aliens did. The math was dangerous, but she was confident they could make it through. Communications. Officer Yoon Ji-won suddenly looked up from her station with worry on her face. Captain, 5 large ships are coming toward us from the other side of the system. They are Corvin military cruisers. Each one is twice as big as our ship, and they have weapons that could destroy us in seconds. Hyun looked at the display screen showing the approaching enemy ships. The Corvins were lizard-like aliens who ruled a large part of the galaxy. They were strong and mean, and they especially hated humans. The 5 cruisers looked like metal dragons flying through space, their hulls covered in weapon ports and armor plating. Our ship is faster than theirs, Hyun said to his crew. We are smaller and can move quicker. They built those cruisers for big battles, not for chasing one little ship, but we have to reach the gate before they can stop us. Taemin, I need more power from the engines down in the engine room. Taemin was already working. His hands moved over the controls like he was playing music. The engines began to hum louder and the whole ship started to vibrate. Captain, I am giving you everything we have, but I do not know how long the engines can take this kind of stress. If we push too hard, we might blow up before we reach the gate. Hyun made his choice. All power to the engines, he ordered. Everyone hold on tight. We are going through that gate whether the Corvins like it or not. The Defiance shot forward like a bullet fired from a gun. The sudden acceleration pushed everyone back in their seats. Hyun gripped his command chair and watched as the gate grew larger. On their screen behind them, the Corvin cruisers were firing their weapons. Red laser beams cut through space trying to hit the small human ship. The first laser blast missed them by only a few meters. Hyun could see the red light flash past their window. If it had hit them, they would all be dead right now. Minji, turn us to the left, he shouted. The ship rolled sideways just as another laser beam passed through the space where they had been. More laser fire erupted from the Corvin ships. The space around the Defiance filled with deadly red light. Their shields began to spark and glow as the energy hit them. Ji-won reported that their shield power was dropping fast. They could not take many more hits without their protection failing completely. Something strange was happening to the gate. As the Defiance got closer, the ancient structure began to change. The blue and purple energy around its edges grew brighter and started to move faster. It looked like the gate was waking up after a long sleep. The metal surface began to glow with symbols and patterns that hurt to look at. Science Officer Han Ji-soo stared at her instruments in shock. Captain, I am reading energy levels that should not be possible. The gate is producing more power than a star. It is like something is turning it on from the inside. The Corvin cruisers seemed to notice the change too. Their laser fire stopped for a moment as their crews tried to figure out what was happening. The gate had been silent for hundreds of years. Now it was blazing with energy that made their sensors scream warnings at them. Yoon saw their chance. Now he yelled, "We go through now while they are confused. Taemin, give me everything you can." The engines roared like angry beasts and the Defiance accelerated toward the gate. The metal structure filled their entire view, now so big it seemed like they were flying into the mouth of a metal god. The gate responded to their approach. The energy around its edges reached out like arms trying to grab their ship. But instead of destroying them, the energy seemed to pull them forward. The Defiance was suddenly moving faster than their engines could push them. Something was helping them as they entered the gate. Hyun felt something touch his mind. It was not painful, but it was strange, like someone was looking inside his thoughts and reading his memories. He saw flashes of images, things that made no sense. Ancient cities floating in space, humans with glowing eyes, technology that looked both familiar and impossible. The last thing Hyun saw before they passed through was the shocked faces of the Corvin crews on their display screens. The aliens were staring at the gate in fear and wonder. They had never seen it activate like this. In all their centuries of using the gates, they had never seen one respond to a human ship this way. Then everything went white. The Defiance was pulled through the gate in a flash of light so bright it seemed to burn through their closed eyes. The ship shook and twisted as forces beyond understanding carried them across impossible distances. When the light finally faded, they found themselves somewhere that should not exist. Through their front window, they could see 3 suns burning in an alien sky. Floating cities hung in space without any support holding them up. And all around them were human ships, dozens of vessels that had been missing for decades, ships that everyone thought were lost forever. Hyun realized that breaking through the gate had not just saved his mission, it had led them to the discovery of something that would change everything. Humans thought they knew about themselves and their place in the galaxy. The unauthorized warship had found something the aliens had been hiding for a very long time. The space around the Defiance was filled with impossible sights. Captain Lee Hyun stared out at 3 suns that burned with different colors. One was yellow like their home sun, another was blue-white hot, and the third glowed with a soft orange light. But the suns were not the strangest thing he could see. Floating cities hung in the empty space between the suns. They were huge structures made of metal and glass, and something that looked like living crystal ships moved between them. But, these were not alien vessels. They were human ships, ships that had been missing for decades, ships that the galaxy thought were lost forever. Science. Officer Han Ji-soo checked her instruments 3 times before she could believe what she was seeing. Captain, these readings make no sense. The cities are floating without any engines or support. The gravity here is all wrong, and those ships out there, they match the designs from our old exploration fleets, the ones that disappeared during the early gate experiments. Navigator Choi Minji was looking at her star charts with confusion on her face. This star system is not on any map I have ever seen. It should not exist here. We are supposed to be in Corvin space, but nothing matches what should be there. Before Hyun could answer, an old communication channel crackled to life. The voice that came through their speakers was human, but aged and tired. Unknown vessel. This is Admiral Song, Minho, of the Lost Fleet State. Your name and purpose. Hyun felt his heart skip. Admiral Song was a legend in human space, the hero who had disappeared 30 years ago while exploring beyond the known gates. His ship and entire fleet had vanished without a trace. Now his voice was coming through their radio, as if he had just been waiting for them to arrive. Admiral Song, this is Captain Lee Hyun of the UES Defiance. We thought you were dead, sir. We have been looking for you for decades. The old admiral laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Dead to the galaxy. We knew, perhaps, but very much alive here, Captain. You have stumbled upon humanity's greatest secret and our greatest hope. Please follow the guide ships to Docking Bay 7. We have much to discuss. Small ships that glowed with soft blue light appeared around the Defiance. They moved without making any sound and seemed to be made of the same living crystal as parts of the floating cities. The guide ships led them toward the largest city structure, which was bigger than any space station Hyun had ever seen. As they got closer, Hyun could see that the city was not just built, it was grown. Parts of it looked like metal and technology he understood, but other sections seemed alive with flowing organic curves and surfaces that pulsed with light. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The docking bay was huge enough to hold 100 ships like theirs. But what made Hyun gasp was seeing the other vessels already docked there. He recognized the designs from history books, the UES, Explorer, which had vanished 25 years ago, the science vessel Breakthrough that disappeared during the first deep space missions, and dozens of others, all ships that should have been lost. Admiral Song was waiting for them at the airlock. He was older than in the pictures Hyun remembered, with white hair and lines on his face, but his eyes still held the fire of command. He wore a uniform that looked familiar but was made of materials Hyun did not recognize. "Welcome to the sanctuary," Captain Song said as he shook Hyun's hand. "I wish we could meet under better circumstances, but I am afraid your arrival means things are moving faster than we hoped." Song led Hyun and his crew through corridors that seemed to be alive. The walls were covered with plants that glowed with their own light. The air smelled fresh and clean like a forest after rain. But the strangest thing was how everything seemed to respond to their presence. Lights grew brighter as they approached, and doors opened before they could touch them. "How is this possible?" Hyun asked as they walked. "The cities, the technology. All of this should be impossible for humans to build." Admiral Song smiled sadly. "The gates are not just transportation. Captain, they are alive. Ancient technology left by a race that vanished millions of years ago, the original builders of the gate network. And for reasons we are still learning, they respond to human minds differently than they do to alien ones." They entered a large chamber at the center of the city. Inside was something that made Hyun stop breathing. A massive computer that was part machine and part living crystal filled the room. It pulsed with energy and light, and Hyun could feel something touching the edges of his mind. When he looked at it, human technicians worked at control stations around the great machine, but they looked different. Their eyes glowed with the same soft light as the plants in the corridors, and their movements seemed faster and more fluid than normal humans. Some of them had metal and crystal devices attached to their heads and arms. "This is the heart," Song explained. "It is connected to every gate in the galaxy. We can see where every ship travels, every secret the aliens keep. And Captain, we know about your sister." The central display screen came to life, showing star maps and ship movements across the galaxy. Hyun could see Corvan fleets and alien trade routes and places where human ships were not supposed to go. But one marker was flashing red on a planet deep in Corvan space. "Your sister Kim Nari is being held on Corvan Prime." Song continued. "She is not just a prisoner, Captain. She discovered something about the gates during her research. Something that threatens every alien." Government in the galaxy engineer Park Taman stepped forward, his eyes wide as he stared at the technology around them. "What did she discover, Admiral? What could be so dangerous that they would risk war with humans to keep it secret?" Song touched. A control and new images appeared on the screen. Ancient ruins and strange symbols and pictures of humans that looked different somehow. Their eyes glowed, and they seemed to be connected to machines like the technicians in this room. She found proof that humans are not from Earth. Originally, Song said quietly, "We are descendants of the gate builders, the race that created this entire network millions of years ago. The aliens have known this truth for centuries, and they have spent all that time keeping us weak and divided." The room fell silent as the meaning of this hit everyone. Hyun felt anger building in his chest. If this was true, then everything humans had been told about their place in the galaxy was a lie. The aliens had not just banned them from the gates, they had been actively working to keep humanity from discovering their true heritage. "We have to get her out," Hyun said firmly. "She is the key to proving all of this." Admiral Song nodded. "I agree, Captain, but Corvan Prime is the most heavily defended world in their empire. We will need more than one ship, and we will need to move carefully. The aliens cannot know what we have discovered here." "Not yet." Chief Engineer Kang So-min approached them, her eyes glowing with the same light as the others. "Captain, if you are willing, we can offer you something that will help. Your crew can be enhanced, connected to the network like we are. The process will make you faster, stronger, and able to interface directly with gate technology." Hyun looked at his crew and saw the determination in their faces. They had come this far together, and they were not going to stop now. "What do we need to do?" he asked. The enhancement process was unlike anything Hyun had ever experienced. He lay on a table, while machines that seemed part alive worked on his body. He could feel microscopic devices entering his bloodstream, connecting to his nervous system, and changing him at the cellular level. When it was over, everything looked different. He could see electromagnetic fields, hear radio frequencies, and his thoughts seemed to move faster than before. His crew had undergone the same process, and he could feel their minds touching his through the network connection. "Now you understand what the aliens," Fearsong said as he watched them adapt to their new abilities. "Humans are not just another species, Captain. We are the rightful heirs to the galaxy's greatest technology. And once we rescue your sister and prove the truth, nothing will ever be the same again." Hyun looked out at the floating cities and the impossible technology surrounding them. For the first time since this mission began, he felt hope. They were not just going to rescue Nari. They were going to change everything. The war room in the floating city buzzed with activity that Captain Lee Hyun could now sense through his enhanced connection to the network. Dozens of human officers from the lost fleets worked at stations that responded to their thoughts as much. As their touch, Admiral Song stood at the center, pointing to a massive holographic display that showed the entire galaxy. "Your sister Nari is not just any prisoner," Song explained as the display zoomed in on Corvin Prime. "The aliens are keeping her in their most secure facility because she discovered something that could destroy their control over the galaxy. She found proof in ancient ruins that humans built the gate network millions of years ago." The hologram showed a heavily fortified planet, covered in weapon towers and shield generators. Corvin Prime was the capital world of their empire, home to billions of lizard-like aliens, and protected by the largest military fleet in known space. Getting in would be almost impossible. Getting out alive would be a miracle. Dr. Kim Nari had been studying archaeological sites when she found the evidence. Song continued. "She discovered ruins that contained technology signatures matching our gate builders. The aliens have been hiding this truth for centuries, keeping humans weak and scattered, so we could never reclaim our birthright." Captain Hyun felt anger burning in his enhanced mind through the network connection. He could sense the same fury in every human in the sanctuary. They had been lied to, kept down and treated as second-class citizens by aliens who knew humans were the original masters of the galaxy. "We have to get her out," Hyun said, his voice carrying more authority than before. The enhancement process had changed him, made him stronger and more confident. "She has the proof we need to show every human in the galaxy what we really are." Admiral Song nodded, but his expression was serious. "Agreed, Captain. But this will not be a simple rescue mission. Corvin Prime has defenses that could stop a full battle fleet. We will need to be smarter than them and use advantages they do not expect us to have." The plan that emerged was daring and complex. Using their control of the gate network, the human fleet would launch attacks across Corvin space at the same time. While the alien military rushed to defend their outer colonies, a small stealth team would slip onto Corvin Prime and break Nari out of prison, Chief Strategist Park. Jihoon had spent weeks studying Corvin military patterns through the network. "The aliens are predictable," he explained. "They always respond to threats with overwhelming force. If we hit a dozen of their worlds at once, they will pull ships away from their capital to protect their territory, but the rescue team would need special abilities to survive on the most dangerous world in Corvin space." Dr. Lee Subin, the sanctuary's chief medical officer, had developed an advanced enhancement process that would give the team superhuman capabilities. The process is more intense than what you experienced before. She warned Hyun as they stood in her medical laboratory. "You will be connected more deeply to the network, able to interface with any technology and react faster than any alien. But there are risks. The enhancement will change you permanently. You will never be quite human again." Hyun did not hesitate. "Do it." The advanced enhancement was painful in ways the first process had not been. Hyun felt his nervous system being rewired, his muscles and bones strengthened, and his brain connected to processing systems he could barely understand. When it was over, he could see through walls, hear electromagnetic signals, and move so fast that normal humans seemed to be standing still. His team for the mission included some of the sanctuary's best enhanced humans. Sergeant Kim Min-soo was a former Marine whose strength had been boosted to superhuman levels. He could punch through steel walls and lift weights that would crush normal people. Pilot Yuna had been connected so deeply to computer systems that she could control any machine with her thoughts alone. The ship they would use was unlike anything in the known galaxy. The stealth vessel Whisper had been grown rather than built using technology that combined human engineering with gate builder secrets. Its hull could bend light around itself, making it invisible to most sensors, and its engines made no sound as they pushed it through space. As they prepared to leave the sanctuary, Hyun felt the network consciousness touching his mind, showing him visions of what they might accomplish. If they succeeded in rescuing Nari and bringing back her evidence, every human in the galaxy would learn the truth. The alien empires that had kept them down for centuries would face the return of their original masters. The journey to Corvin space took 3 days through hidden gates that the aliens did not know existed. The network guided them along paths between stars that avoided all patrol routes and sensor stations. When they finally approached Corvin Prime, the planet looked like a fortress hanging in space. 47 patrol ships circle the planet. Pilot Yuna reported her consciousness merged with the ship's sensors. 15 orbital defense platforms, each one armed with weapons that could destroy a battlecruiser. The surface has enough firepower to glass a continent, but Hyun could see something the Corvins could not. The planet had its own gate network, smaller portals, used for communication and rapid transport between cities. The aliens had forgotten that their greatest advantage could become their greatest weakness. Their Hyun pointed to a weak spot in the energy grid around the planet's main communication hub. If I can reach that location, I can access their entire planetary network and turn their own gates against them. The Whisper slipped through the outer defenses like a ghost. The stealth technology made them invisible to Corvin sensors and Yuna's control. Over-electronic systems confused any automated defenses that might have detected them. They landed in a maintenance area of the capital city, where no one was watching. Corvin Prime was a world of metal and stone built to intimidate and control. The buildings were massive and angular, designed to make anyone walking between them feel small and powerless. The air was thick and humid, the way the lizard aliens liked it, and everything smelled of sulfur and machine oil. The prison, where they held Nari, was built into the side of a mountain, 20 levels underground and surrounded by enough security to stop an army. But the Corvins had not planned for enemies who could move at superhuman speed and hack their technology with thoughts alone. Guard. Rotation in 3 minutes, Yuna whispered, her enhanced senses tracking every electronic signal in the building. 17 Corvin soldiers between us and the target level. They are armed with plasma weapons and wearing battle armor. Yun smiled grimly. The Corvins were tough fighters, but they moved like their thoughts were swimming through thick mud compared to enhanced humans. Their weapons were powerful but useless if they could not target fast enough. Let me handle the guards. Min-soo, you take care of any locked doors. The infiltration was perfect. Hyun moved through the prison corridors like a shadow, his enhanced reflexes letting him dodge security cameras and avoid patrol routes that would have been impossible for normal humans to navigate. Min-soo used his superhuman strength to tear through barriers while Yuna confused the computer systems into thinking everything was normal. They found Nari 20 levels down in a cell that looked more like a laboratory. The Corvins had been experimenting on her, trying to understand how human minds could interface with gate technology. She was weak and tired, but her eyes lit up with hope when she saw her brother Hyun. "How did you find me?" she whispered as he cut through her restraints. "Long story," he replied, but his heart was singing with relief. She was alive and they were going to get her out. "Can you travel? I can do more than that." She smiled, showing him a data storage device she had kept hidden from her captors. "I found more than just proof. About our origins, I found warnings about something that is coming back. Something that made our ancestors scatter us across the galaxy to keep us safe. But their escape was interrupted by alarms, blaring throughout the facility. The Corvin military, had finally noticed their presence, and hundreds of soldiers were now converging on their location. The easy part of the mission was over now. Came the real test of their enhanced abilities. "Time to go," Hyun said, activating their portable gate generator. But as the escape portal began to form, something incredible happened. Every gate on the planet activated at once, responding to the presence of multiple enhanced humans working together. The ancient network was waking up and remembering its true masters. Every gate on Corvin Prime blazed with energy as Captain Lee Hyun and his team prepared to escape with his sister Nari. The ancient portals that had been dormant for centuries suddenly came alive, responding to the presence of enhanced humans working together. The Corvin soldiers surrounding the prison could only watch in shock as their controlled technology became something wild and unpredictable. The portable gate generator in Hyun's hands was vibrating with power far beyond what it was designed to handle. Dr. Kim Nari stared at the device with wonder and fear in her enhanced vision. She could see energy patterns flowing through it that should not have been possible. "Brother, what did you do to yourself?" she whispered, touching his face and seeing the glow in his eyes that marked him as one of the enhanced. "You feel different, connected to something vast." Later, Hyun promised as he helped her stand. "The escape portal is forming, but something is happening to the entire network. Every gate on this planet is responding to us." Through the prison walls, they could hear the chaos erupting across Corvin Prime. Alarms were screaming in the capital city as transportation gates activated without permission. Emergency broadcasts filled the airwaves. As Corvin officials tried to understand what was happening to their most secure world sergeant, Kim Min-soo stood guard at the cell door, his enhanced hearing picking up the sound of hundreds of soldiers running through the corridors toward their location. "Captain, we have maybe 2 minutes before they reach this level, and they are bringing heavy weapons. Pilot." Oyuna was interfaced with the prison computer systems, her consciousness flowing through electronic networks like water. "Their security AI is having a breakdown," she reported. "The sudden gate activation has overloaded every system on the planet. Nothing is responding to their commands anymore." The escape portal finally stabilized, creating a shimmering doorway back to the sanctuary, but as they prepared to step through it, Nari grabbed her brother's arm. "Wait," she said urgently. "I need to show you something first. The data I collected, it is not just about our past, it is about what is coming." She activated her hidden storage device, and holographic images filled the prison cell. Ancient star charts showing the space between galaxies, massive ships that moved through the void like predators hunting prey. And most disturbing of all, recordings from the final days of the Gate Builder civilization, the Devourers. Nari whispered as the images played. "They consume entire galaxies, stripping every world of life and energy. Our ancestors built the Gate Network as an early warning system and escape route. But when the Devourers came, the network was damaged and our people were scattered across space." Hyun stared at the recordings showing cities that stretched across entire star systems, being consumed by machines that ate matter itself. The Gate Builders had been incredibly advanced, but even they could not stop this threat. They had saved what they could by scattering their children across the galaxy and hiding the truth until humanity could grow strong enough to face what was coming. "How long do we have?" he asked, though he was afraid to hear the answer. Nari pointed to deep space sensor readings that showed objects moving between galaxies. "The first scouts arrived months ago. Small ships probing our defenses. The main fleet will follow once they determine we are helpless." Sound of Corvin soldiers reached the door to their cell, plasma weapons charged with deadly energy, and heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors. Min-soo braced himself in the doorway, his enhanced muscles ready to hold off an army if necessary. "We go now," Hyun decided, grabbing his sister and stepping toward the portal. "Whatever is coming, we cannot fight it from a Corvin prison." But as they entered the escape gate, something extraordinary happened. The portal did not just transport them back to the sanctuary. Instead, it connected them to every other gate in the galaxy, showing them a network that spanned millions of worlds. Hyun felt his consciousness expand, touching minds across impossible distances. Through the network, he could sense other enhanced humans waking up on distant worlds. People who had been living normal lives suddenly feeling the call of their true heritage. The gate network was not just transportation, it was communication, and it was telling every human in the galaxy that something was about to change. The team materialized back on the sanctuary, but they were not alone. The portal remained open, and through it came images from across Corvin space. Every gate in their empire was active now, creating a web of energy that the aliens could not control. Their carefully ordered civilization was becoming chaos. Admiral Song was waiting for them in the arrival chamber along with dozens of other enhanced humans who had felt the network activation through their connections. "Captain, what did you do out there?" he asked, though his tone suggested he already knew. Hyun helped his weakened sister to a medical chair before answering. "We rescued Nari and discovered something that changes everything, Admiral. The threat our ancestors fled from is returning, and this time there is nowhere to run." The data from Nari's research spread through the sanctuary network in seconds. Every enhanced human felt the knowledge flow into their minds. Images of the Devourers and their galaxy-consuming fleets. Plans that showed how the gate builders had tried to hide their children across space, and warnings about what would happen when the ancient enemy returned. Dr. Lee Subin rushed to examine Nari while her data was analyzed by the sanctuary's best scientists. The medical scans showed that the Corvins had been experimenting on her, trying to understand how human minds interfaced with gate technology, but they had also inadvertently enhanced her abilities. "Is more connected to the network than anyone we have seen before," Subin reported. "Her consciousness can reach across the entire galaxy and beyond. She may be the key to coordinating our species for what is coming." Through the still open portal they could see the chaos spreading across Corvin Prime. The lizard aliens were evacuating their capital city as gates activated randomly throughout their territory. Some portals were transporting people to random locations, while others were opening into empty space. Admiral Song studied the situation with growing understanding. They are losing control of their own technology. The gates are remembering their original programming and responding to human consciousness instead of alien commands. Communications. Officer Yoon Ji-won, who had remained on the sanctuary during the mission, was monitoring broadcasts from across the galaxy. "Admiral, we are receiving signals from human colonies on dozens of worlds. Our people are reporting strange dreams and visions. Enhanced individuals are awakening everywhere." The network activation was spreading faster than anyone had expected. Enhanced humans who had been living in secret were revealing themselves as ordinary people, suddenly found themselves connected to something larger than they had ever imagined. The careful balance of power that had kept humanity suppressed was crumbling. But the most important discovery was yet to come. As Nari's consciousness fully merged with the sanctuary network, she gasped and pointed at the deep space sensors. "The Devourer scouts are not just observing us anymore. 3 Corvin colony worlds have gone silent in the past hour. Their populations are simply gone." The implications hit everyone at once. The ancient enemy had not just sent scouts, they had sent advanced forces to test the galaxy's defenses, and they had found those defenses wanting. The scattered civilizations that had grown up since the gate builders' fall were not prepared for what was coming. "We need to warn everyone," Admiral Song decided. "The Corvins, the Zilithians, all the alien governments, they kept us down for centuries. But this threat is bigger than our conflicts." Some of the sanctuary commanders disagreed. Captain An Jae-hyun stepped forward, with anger in his enhanced eyes. "They enslaved us, treated us like animals. Why should we help them now? Because that is what separates us from them." Hyun replied firmly, echoing something he had felt through the network connection. "We protect those who cannot protect themselves even if they have wronged us. It is what makes us human, Admiral." Song nodded and made the decision that would change galactic history. Send the message to every government, every species, every world. Tell them the truth about us, about the gates, and about what is coming. It is time to stop hiding. The network carried their message across the galaxy in seconds, reaching alien governments that had spent centuries keeping humans suppressed. For the first time in galactic history, humanity was announcing itself not as subjects but as the returning masters of technology that had been theirs all along. The unauthorized warship that had broken through the gate was about to become the catalyst for the greatest alliance the galaxy had ever seen. The Galactic Council chamber had never seen anything like it. Representatives from over 100 alien species sat in stunned silence as a holographic projection of Captain Lee Hyun appeared before them. Behind him, the impossible sight of the human fleet filled space around their hidden worlds. Thousands of ships that seemed to have appeared from nowhere, using technology that should not exist. The message had reached every corner of the galaxy in minutes, thanks to the awakened Gate Network. Alien governments that had spent centuries carefully controlling information flow suddenly found human transmissions appearing on every communication channel. The truth they had hidden for so long was being broadcast to every world. "We are the descendants of the Gate Builders," Hyun announced, his enhanced voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "For millions of years your governments have known this truth and worked to keep humanity weak and scattered. But the ancient enemy that forced our ancestors to hide us is returning, and this time there is nowhere to run." The Corvan Emperor rose from his seat, his scaled face twisted with rage and disbelief. "Lies," he hissed. "Humans are primitives, barely capable of space travel. You cannot possess such technology. Your ships are weak and your weapons are outdated." Hyun's response was to open a gate directly in the council chamber. Through the portal, the alien representatives could see the sanctuary in all its impossible glory. Floating cities that defied physics, technology that combined organic and mechanical elements in ways they could not understand, and humans who moved with the fluid grace of beings connected to something far greater than themselves. The demonstration lasted only seconds, but it changed everything. Even the most skeptical alien leaders could not deny what they had seen. The humans possessed technology that made their most advanced systems look primitive, and they were offering to share it in the face of a threat that could destroy them all. Admiral Song stepped through the closing portal, his presence filling the chamber with an authority that made even the proudest alien leaders feel small. "We do not have time for disbelief or politics," he announced. "The Devourer fleet has crossed into our galaxy. 300,000 ships, each one capable of stripping a planet bare. They will be here in less than 6 months." The debate that followed was fierce and desperate. Some species wanted to surrender immediately, believing that resistance against such overwhelming force was hopeless. Others demanded more proof that humans could actually help fight such a threat. But Dr. Kim Nari provided evidence that silenced all arguments. Through the Gate Network, every representative could suddenly see the Devourer fleet approaching, massive ships the size of moons moving through space like mechanical locusts. Their weapons could crack planets in half, and their harvesting systems could drain all life from a star system in hours. Behind them stretched the empty husks of galaxies they had already consumed. The recordings from the Gate Builder archives showed what had happened the last time the Devourers came. Entire civilizations vanishing in days, advanced species with technology beyond current understanding reduced to lifeless worlds. The Gate Builders had been the most powerful race the galaxy had ever known, and even they had barely managed to save fragments of their people. "We cannot fight them alone," Admiral Song continued. "Every ship, every weapon, every species must work together. The humans will coordinate the defense through the Gate Network, but we need your fleets, your knowledge, and your courage." The response was not immediate. Many alien species had built their entire cultures around the belief that they were superior to humans. Accepting help from what they considered a primitive species was difficult for their pride, but the images of the approaching Devourer fleet made their choice clear: the Zalithian. Ambassador was the first to speak. Her crystalline form reflected light as she stood. "We have studied these ancient records and we know the truth. The Gate Builders were indeed the ancestors of humanity. We offer our fleets to this alliance." One by one, the other species joined. The insectoid hive queens offered their swarming fighters. The energy beings from the void nebula pledged their reality-warping abilities. Even the proud Corvan Empire eventually agreed to contribute their battle fleets, but cooperation was not enough. The galaxy needed to be transformed into a unified defense network. Admiral Song explained the plan that the enhanced humans had developed through their network connection. Every world would be connected through the gates, allowing instant communication and transportation. Any attack on any planet would be met by the combined forces of every species. The process took months. Human engineers worked alongside alien scientists to upgrade weapons and shield systems. The gate network was expanded and reinforced to handle military traffic from dozens of different technologies. Most importantly, volunteers from every species underwent the enhancement process connecting their minds to the Galactic network. Captain Hyun found himself at the center of it all. His ship, the Defiance, had become the flagship of the largest fleet ever assembled. His sister Nari served as the primary link between the network and the various alien command structures. Together they could see the entire galaxy as one interconnected web of worlds and ships. The transformation was